I wanted to start off because tonight we are going to be starting a new project, which I'm going to call the rereads project, the rereading entire series project. I don't know how this is going to be called, honestly, but it's a project where I reread favorite series of my childhood. So today we are going to be rereading and also reading for the first time the entire Legend series by Mary Lou, and we're gonna be reading Rebel for the first time because I acquired this like 6 months ago, or maybe even around a year ago. Like, actually, yeah, I acquired this in quarantine and I haven't read it yet because I feel like I need a refresher, and today we're gonna read all of these books at once. I attempted to start this yesterday, but my Silver Swan review was exporting and there was like a lot of noise in here and it was really hot, so I wasn't going to be able to export these clips on my computer and stuff like that. And besides, I did my makeup today because I was filming the first few videos for my Spanish speaking channel, because I feel like booktube, Spanish booktube, like not Spanish as in Spain, but Spanish as in Spanish speaking Hispanic booktube, kind of feel like I would love to be part of it. So I also made a channel where I just make videos about books in English, but not a lot of studying videos like I do here, just like books in general. And I am going to be posting on there like once a week because I'm posting 3 times a week over here, around 2 to 3 times a week, because I'm posting every 3 days. So I feel like just doing 1 video a week over there is a nice start. The Legend series by Mary Lou is probably one of my favorite dystopian and my favorite young adult. I read this when I was very young. I was like 12 or 13 or something like that. I was around 13 years old when I picked this up and I just fell in love with it. I got this recommendation off of actually Spanish speaking booktube, and I just felt like blown away by it. I loved it. I don't know why. It was so good. I reread this on a field trip, not on a road trip. I reread this on a road trip, but I didn't quite pay attention to it because I was on a road trip and I got a little dizzy. But this time around, I'm going to be annotating my copies of Legend because they've been with me for years and they need to be more special. It's more of a nostalgia thing rather than this was an objectively good book, so it stuck with me. This is a nostalgia thing. I'm reading this because of nostalgia and because I want to come back to this world. I want to come back to June. I think June was one of the first characters that made me realize I was bisexual, because I love June and I love Day with my entire heart. And I love June's brother. I don't remember his name, but like I remember I loved him and I wanted him to be my brother because I wanted a brother to care for me the way that this guy did. And I realize now that I have them, but it's just, I didn't feel like that at the time. So this was amazing escapism for me. And there's just one scene that really stuck to me, which is the funeral scene. And I remember that June was just wearing this white attire and she had like white on her thick eyelashes, like she had fake eyelashes on and then she had like white sticking to them. And I think that was just some piece of imagery that really stuck to me as a tween, as a preteen. Just really excited. There's also this little Life Before Legend, which is a little book of like 2 or 3 short stories about June and Day before the events of Legend. Next series on the list are going to be the Maze Runner series by James Dashner and the Selection series by Kara Cass. Also, I'm going to be reading as much of the Shadowhunter world as I possibly can because I could not get into that when I was a tween. I'm still a teen. I couldn't get into that not for some reason, but like, you get me. Why I couldn't get into that is probably because, I don't know, I was going through a really tough time though. Like, I remember reading this on a road trip and it was a tough Christmas and I just don't remember much of it because it was just, I wasn't in a good headspace, and I was fairly young. I was super young and I wasn't in a good headspace to remember. So I'm gonna get into that, see if I can enjoy them. Probably not really gonna enjoy them. And I'm also going to be reading Twilight for the first time because I've never read Twilight. It wasn't in my time, it was before my time, Twilight actually. Hi, hello. I'm sorry the lighting is not great. Like, I only have one lamp and it's lighting up as much as I can, the poor thing. Hi, so I haven't been uploading. No, yeah, I've been uploading consistently, but I haven't been uploading book content in the sense of I just uploaded a rant review that I did on Silver Swan, but that's because I haven't been reading as much as I would have liked. I just finished 100 Years of Solitude, and I have to say that that shit just kind of, oh my god, it was so good. I cannot express with words how painful the process of going through it is, and still I adore the product so much that I just really want to go through the excruciating process of reading that again. Why was it painful? Mainly because it was so long and so descriptive, and because I hadn't written down the family tree. And yeah, that's it. But it was worth every single second, to be honest. It's like, I went to lots of debates when I was in school. The hardest part of a debate was, of course, preparing and researching and kind of knowing the range of questions that I was going to be asked and preparing answers based on those questions, and researching my country and researching just basically the aspects that I was going to be to talk about and profoundly explain during forums and on the specific committee I was in. And still, the entire experience, I still did it again and again and again and again, even though the process was so exhausting. Because I just loved it. I loved it so much, and that's kind of what 100 Years of Solitude felt for me, and I really missed that feeling. So if you're somebody whose experience relates to mine, I would totally recommend you read 100 Years of Solitude, of course with an open mind. Today, since you see that my stuff is different, yes, I am finally filming the 24-hour readathon for the Legend series by Mary Lou, because I've tried 3 days in a row, but my parents didn't know when my brothers and my sisters-in-law were gonna come over for lunch. So since they didn't know the day, I couldn't stay awake 24 hours knowing that I was gonna have to take care of my nephew and also socialize with my family for a long time. But today, finally, hence the makeup, I have already finished with the meal. It's like 11:30, and I did a lot of prep before this readathon. I did the mix for the dalgona coffee. I'm sorry, prior to this, because I didn't want to wake my parents up. I made myself ice water, and I've already prepped the drinks that I'm gonna be having during this first period of time where I'm gonna be awake during the night. So I'm gonna make Earl Grey tea. I'm gonna eat some of the cookies and some of the candy that are here on my desk. I already cleaned my room to an extent. Legend, which is the first book in the Legend previously trilogy, now series by Mary Lou. This is a dystopia that follows 16-year-old, if not 15, but I think it's 16-year-old Day and June, so male and female protagonists respectively. We are in a dystopia where a single test of around 1600 points, I want to say, dictates the entire course of your life as a functional member of society. So if you have a very superior score, you will be part of the military, and if your score is more like average, you just constitute, you know, the working class. Yeah, and June has a perfect score in the test, and Day apparently failed the test, because when you fail the test, when you're one of those kids who fail the test, you never come back. And he was one of those kids, and now he's a fugitive of the law. So the government is looking for him because, you know, he's been doing some crimes here and there. He's just trying to survive, and of course the government is looking for him. But then Day and June get involved because something happens with June's brother and only family, because her parents are dead and her brother is her only family. So yeah, and this is a very popular dystopia, I think, that was, you know, in its time, but I feel like it's one of those very forgettable dystopias. It wasn't in the level of the Maze Runner, or it wasn't in the level of the Hunger Games, which, you know, the Hunger Games was the staple of dystopia back then. I remember I had this when I was like 12 years old or 13. That's when I ordered it. And yeah, and I think I reread the first 2 books twice, and I finished the series. I finished the original trilogy, and around this time last year, or maybe around May last year, I ordered the newest book in the series, which was published around, I think, 2019 or something, because it was like a special edition, and it was going to be like Life After Legend. and it's called Rebel, which follows Day's youngest brother into, I guess, more older teenhood, older teenage years, early adulthood. And so this series, excuse my dog, he's got a little bit of the itch of the scratch. This series consists of the first Legend book, so Legend, then this little Life Before Legend little book. It's got 2 short stories in it, one story of June and one story of Day before the events of Legend came to. Also, just one moment to appreciate Mary Lou's picture. It's just so amazing. I don't know, I've always thought it was really amazing. Also, it's got the second book in the series, and I think it's the longest. No. The second book in the series, which is Prodigy, and you know, this is like right after the events of the first book. And finally, Champion, which is the last book, the third book in the series. To this day, I think Mary Lou is still, yeah, she's still publishing books. I actually follow her on Instagram because I don't have a Twitter. Twitter is, I feel like it's very toxic for me, and also it's just too much to keep up with. Like when I had Twitter, I just scrolled like endlessly through the platform. My makeup was just for the intro, but I don't want to take it off right now, but I have to. So I'm gonna do my skincare. I'm gonna go heat up some water, and we're gonna have some Earl Grey tea. I love how this kettle, you know, as it gets warmer or hotter, the sticker on here goes from black to colorful. This at the very bottom is this color because it burned. So I left my kettle on for way too long and it burned. That's why this is also, because you know, I haven't been able to close it. But there is this thing that I've been doing, which is with a stick. I will try to lock the mechanism in and just like try to make it as close as possible. And yeah, I'm gonna have some Earl Grey tea because it's got, you know, the black tea in it has got some caffeine, not as much as that. But yeah, we're gonna try to start later, and yeah, it's just like so aesthetic. By the way, I really recommend this brand. It's really expensive, but it's really good. Okay, so I got my tea, I have my kitchen ambience, and I have my book, my annotating kit, because I'm gonna annotate these books through and through, and a light. I'm not really gonna be vlogging the process of me reading these books because yeah, I'm gonna be a little busy reading the books. But I'm gonna talk a lot about how I remembered them and how my opinions are changing about them, and if I would recommend them or not. So yeah, I'm really excited. My dog is just sprawled out. Hello, so just a small update because it's almost 2 a.m. and I'm already well into the second act. I am at around page 100, so I'm reading around 50 pages an hour, which is kind of slow, but I am a little tired. I think around page 150 or something, I'm gonna go ahead and make some coffee. Probably not gonna sleep a lot today. Yeah, I'm gonna make myself some more tea because it did kind of wake me up, but it's not a lot as to not let me sleep. I'm also a little hungry, which is great because I have a couple of snacks in my room to bury. It's not as hot as it was, so I'm really comfortable, and I did not remember how good the writing is. Like, it's actually very, very digestible and very, very show not tell, and it's just seamless. Like, it's fantastic and just astoundingly, it's not beautiful, but it's very, very practical. So I'm just really, really loving that. I'm also loving how short and snappy the chapters are. They're very, very digestible. I'm really turning the page here because something's always happening, of course. The emotional stakes are very, very high. And also, you know, I just love June and Day together. I know that I'm not gonna get to see this until third book. Like, this book is more about world building and about the plot more than the romance. However, I am really looking forward to the romance. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying it so far. I thought I was gonna have mixed feelings about it, but it's going really good. Changed positions. I'm now reading at my desk, well, my room's desk, because I have a desk in my room. Yeah. I'm already halfway through, and I'm on part 2, and I think this is the beginning of the 3rd act. I think this is gonna be a 4-act book, because the first 2 acts were like way too short, and the 3rd one is starting at halfway through the book, so pretty sure we're going pretty great. My mind is blown. I did not remember this at all. It's going really well though. I'm trying for this to be non-spoilery, but you know, seeing as I am reading the entire series in a day, I feel like it will be spoilery, and like it's a 2011 YA series. Like, has anybody not read it, or has anybody, like, if you have the interest, like, maybe just skip this part and just like wait until maybe the wrap-up portion of this video, because you know I'm gonna talk about this in a lot of shape form. So I feel like I see the foreshadowing, because you know I've read the series and I clearly remember the ending of the first book, and the other 3 books I can only remember like a fade to black sex scene between Day and June, and like that's it. Like I don't remember a lot, and I also remember June going to like China or something. I don't remember a lot. I do remember the treason that comes out at the end, and how, you know, this guy Thomas killed June's brother Matthias. I want to say Matthias, but he could also be pronounced Matthias, so like I have no idea. I would pronounce Matthias, his name, but like pretty sure it's Matthias, because most pronunciations that I do in English are wrong. So the actions there, I've tapped quite a bit. I've tapped more moments in the plot that have brought up some disturbing or just like cool or any sort of emotional reaction in me. There's like 3 or 4 like writing or systematic, you know, those kinds of taps. If you don't know my tabbing system, I'll leave it in the cards or in the description under the videos that you might want to watch next, because I have made a pretty extensive like 20-something minute video on my tabbing and annotating system, so if you'd like to watch it, you're welcome to. It is currently 3:05 a.m. and I'm halfway through, so yes, just like I suspected, it's gonna take me a little, like 3 more hours to finish this book. So if it's gonna take me 6 hours to finish that book, it might take me around 6 to 7 hours to finish next book, and that makes, for 13 hours, it's gonna take me like 20 hours to finish the trilogy. And I don't know how long it's gonna take me to finish the last book in the series, which is the one that I have to get to, so this might get a little extended. It is starting as a 24-hour readathon though, and I really hope to finish this, especially because I'm going to be taking some breaks in between, you know, for like cleaning the room up a little bit, or making my coffee, or making my tea, or just organizing in general, or just trying to wake myself up. I kind of wanted to make this book steer my day in any shape or form, like, but I can't, because this is way too athletic for me, and I just don't. I did kind of want to make like sit-ups and stuff like that. I also have a couple wounds that I'm going to tend to with an herbal tonic, so that might be the first mission that I'm gonna complete. I don't know. Anyway, I am getting a little tired. I have been drinking water, and I ate a mini bag of chips and a roll-up, which is like gummy candy and like a roll. So my energy is pretty high, but I don't know how I wounded my foot, but like it kind of hurts, so I'm just gonna add some of this. My aunt sells these, you know, she's affiliated with the company, and these are actually really good for soothing skins and muscles. For example, my arm, I have a tendinitis, and when the pain becomes unbearable, this thing is just like so good for covering it up. Or when I stretched, I think I showed that in a vlog like last year. pulled on a thigh muscle because I tried to do the splits once too quickly by stretching out my muscles with a bottle, and also just adding this. In 3 days I was like as good as new. So yeah, I'm gonna continue reading, and if I have some time after maybe I finish a couple chapters of this, I know I said I was gonna make some more tea at page 150 and I'm already like at 160, but if I get to page 200 without any hitches, or if I'm a little bit ahead of schedule, I'll go ahead and make some more tea, because I'm not sure I'm gonna sleep today. I might have to sleep, but I've slept a lot in past readathons, and I really don't want to do that. It's actually extremely well written. Like, I can see Mary Lou has been like very advanced for the genre that she is writing at the moment. She's a really good writer. Like, in general, she has like this very snappy writing, you know. I like the character relationships, and I like the foreshadowing of her characters up to her twist. Like, it's not completely obvious, but you can tell. Like, you can tell that something's happening. And by the way, like, I don't know why I have one of my eyebrows higher than the other one. It's annoying as hell, but we're trying. Okay, so I'm gonna try to finish this in the next few hours. Okay, so it's 4 a.m. and I'm at a scene right now that kind of requires me to talk about it. There's been like an execution, like a mass execution. You know, protesters, rioters are outside, you know, protesting because they don't want Day to get killed. The government traps them in, and then they start shooting at will. And actually, this scene also kind of happened in 100 Years of Solitude, but let's not get into that. Okay, this is like, I think it's very beneficial for teenagers, especially, for us to read these kinds of dystopias, because as soon as we can identify these traits as being of an authoritative government, when we start doing that, we start building up a sense of morale that helps us not be brainwashed. So readers, actually, doesn't matter what quality of books they choose to consume, either that being classics or young adult novels, they do contribute greatly and heavily. And it doesn't really take me reading this book to realize, but it does take me read this book to realize how easy it is for us to find symbolism of a greater morale, or just places where we can improve as human beings if we look at it that way, and if we are open to the idea of the evolution of ourselves. And I think I'm getting philosophical because it's 4 in the morning, but I feel like it's a very good thing. I'm not writing it down over here because my string of thoughts is way too long for me to just write it down. But I do feel like it's very beneficial for us to know this, because imagine if with the Black Lives Matter movement, or with the feminist movement over here, you know, there's been lots of protesting, and the government usually closes in very small groups of protesters, not to shoot at will, because we are still under a very, very public lens, but still it is to arrest the protesters. Because most of the times when they arrest them, they disappear. At least in this country, there's this one case of this like 15-year-old girl. I think she was at a rally. I guess she was at the Women's Day protesting site. Like, we have an annual protesting in like the important places of the city, of important cities and important places of those cities, where women just kind of gather up and protest, because it's Women's Day is not a day to be celebrated, you know, we can agree on that, right? There was one instance of this 15-year-old girl who was rounded up by police, and the police didn't want to release her, and then the police dissipated and she wasn't there anymore, and they haven't found her to this day. So things like that do happen, and I can't believe there's people, especially men, like in this instance, especially men, who either don't know about it, or if they know about it, they're very indifferent towards it, or they say, well, she had it coming because she was protesting. And that kind of thing we can realize is completely wrong by just reading a book, and reading the right books, and choosing to be changed by the right books. You know what I mean? Because of course there are a lot of books that are biased, There are a lot of YouTube videos that are biased, and I feel like Legend is doing an excellent job. I think I thought I was gonna tab a lot more on this book, but I think that, you know, it being a reread, a lot of things don't surprise me anymore, and it's just like me remembering these things, or it's just, but I mean, I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm enjoying every single page. It's just that I'm not tabbing as much as I would have loved to tab. But anyway, yeah, I am on page 215, which means that I'm about to finish. If I can just get on page 305. So just 100 pages, and it's 4 a.m. and it's actually 4:07. So if I power through this, I'll be able to finish by 5 a.m. or 5-ish a.m. So yeah, wish me luck. It's 5:30 in the morning. The sun is starting to rise, and I have finished the first Legend book, and it was fucking heartbreaking, and I love it. And I am just gonna go ahead and sleep. I'm gonna take a 2-hour nap, hopefully, so that I can wake up and continue with the second book in the series, which is called Prodigy. But for now, I'll try to only get half an hour of sleep. The ending was something that oh my god, sorry, something I thought I knew, and apparently I didn't, because I just couldn't really remember what it was about. But now I know, and it was heartbreaking, and obviously the sequel is gonna be really good. Tomorrow morning I'm gonna start with Life Before Legend, which is just like it's only a few pages. It's like 50 pages or something. And then I'm gonna go with Prodigy, because that shit's long as fuck. Like, I think it's a good 400 and so pages, so it's gonna take me a little while to finish. And yeah, I'm just gonna go to sleep. Good night. Good morning. I know I don't look the best, but I literally woke up and started reading. So I'm around 70 pages through Prodigy, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's good. I feel like, of course, it's gonna be a little longer, and it does feel a little like I want the action to start right away, because we get like the kind of overview of the plan of what June's gonna do, and since we get that, I'm just really eager for that to start. But June and Day, though, I love the romance. It's so, I'm gonna say organic, but also it's going pretty quickly, and that's very proper of 15 to 16-year-olds, because we feel like life is an instant. Well, I used to feel that way, of course, when I was 15. And when I was 15, I also said I love you way too fast. And well, Day, I can really relate to Day, and I just feel like I love him so much. And I also love June. June, though, June is so insecure, and it's kind of annoying. Not because her character is annoying, but because I get that. I get that she's really insecure, or that she's just not sure of it yet, because I don't know, it's just the whole situation kind of gives way for that, for her to feel insecure, and for her to feel like this relationship is what she wants, but doesn't know if it moving quickly enough is fair or right or something. I don't know. I feel like it's really good though, and I'm super hungry. It's like 11 a.m. or 11:30 a.m. and I'm so fucking hungry, but my dad's downstairs and I'm awkward, and I really want to make coffee, and I want to make eggs and bacon. And yeah, I'm not tabbing a lot, as you can see, because the only thing that I would tab with like the long tabs, you know, about the book, about the craft of the book, is that I love how our characters are not like any dystopia characters. I went through a lot of the reviews on Legend and a little bit on the ones on Prodigy, and I realized that there are not a lot of very low ratings, and I feel like I can see why. I really enjoyed the series at the time I have read for the first time, and now I also feel like it's so good. The writing is very smart and quick paced, and it's just an awesome book. And the world building in the first book was, of course, not as prevalent, because we were more focused on the plot. But right now, over here, we actually got a map at the beginning of the book, which I am very, very excited about. It's only a map of the continental United States, Canada, Mexico, you know, stuff like that. And I love it, because I can never pinpoint locations. because the United States is really confusing to me. Anyway, yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I want to have breakfast soon, but we'll see if I can get through one more day chapter before that happens. I have now reached page 88, and with that I decide to venture down to my kitchen and make something for breakfast. And I'm really nervous because my dad's down there, and I'm pretty sure he's just hanging there so that he can greet me, which is kind of sweet of him, but it's making me anxious. Okay, so yeah, I'll just leave it like this because I'm tired, and I'll go make myself my coffee. There's also some dalgona, but the dalgona is decaf, so nothing's gonna come out of it. I'm just gonna have it as a cold drink later on in the day because we're already at 36 degrees Celsius and it's like 11:30 or something, so I'm just gonna go. I don't know if I'm gonna read through breakfast. I might just prepare breakfast and then try to get some reading done. Hi, don't I look better after having had some breakfast? It's just amazing the wonders that food does to you. I also had my first cup of coffee in a very long time, so I'm very excited about that. I also found like fake coffee that we could buy, which is amazing. And also, anyway, I can't believe I missed, not that I missed, well, yeah, I missed it because I didn't remember that Matthias and Thomas were almost in a relationship kind of thing, and that Thomas wasn't actually that cold-blooded. But okay, so there's this thing that I underlined because I thought it was kind of interesting to comment on. How could he do that to someone he loved? How could he possibly attempt to justify this? What is wrong with him? And for Thomas, I feel like it's not justification for his actions, but I feel like from the inside, if you're so committed, so brainwashed to feel like you owe your life to your country in that way, that yeah, it was the most merciful thing to do to somebody you love, you know, to kill them yourself instead of letting him be tortured to death or something. I don't know, but it's still like it's not, and that shows that something is awfully wrong with Thomas, and he's so obsessive over his job, and that's the only life he sees because he so badly wants to distance himself from being the janitor's son into being this like upperclassman, renowned general, renowned soldier, captain, I think, yeah, renowned captain and stuff. He kind of forgets what's important, and I feel like we should talk about that too because like honestly, I also forget about that a lot. I've also been reading The Little Prince for my language learning courses, so my language learning series, which might leave that in the cards, I don't know. But it's the fact that Matthias knew that his human relationships were far more than his professional career. And that's a message that Antoine d'Exupéry does in his book, that it's more about the human relationships and not about the materialistic things that matter. It's about love and our connections to other people. So I feel like this is two very different ends of the spectrum. Of course, it's two separate parts of it. Matthias is willing to give his life for his sister and for his beliefs and for what he believes in. And then Matthias, he is not willing to give himself away or give away the people that he loves just to keep himself in a comfortable situation or to keep himself aligned with his country or with his line of work, if he doesn't feel like it's true to himself and if that won't protect the people that he loves. And Thomas is not really the same way, at least how we're going in the book. He is more of a career man. He's more of a, as long as I stay in this position, I can have as many friends as I can. It's easy, people come and go. That could be his mentality, but really he is losing a hold of what should actually make him happy, which is the relationships he holds with people. And maybe that's the reason the way he kept Ollie, is that he reminded him of the Iparises, and second, well, he needed somebody or something, or a pet or just a companion to be with him constantly, because loneliness is a very fretful thing. I feel like, not even I feel like, it is true. Loneliness is, I choose to be alone most of the time, But I am so grateful that I'm not lonely, because my friends and my family are always there if I say like, hey, I feel in the mood to talk right now. That's amazing. You could be alone without having to be lonely. They're not mutually exclusive. So yeah, I guess that's the moral that I wanted to convey with this. I'm not sure. I don't know why I'm doing it like that, but you know, it's probably the lack of sleep that's making me a little delirious. So anyway, the time. It's 12:50 in the afternoon, and I am on page 108 out of around 350 pages. So it should take me around 5 hours to finish this, if not less. I want to make it less because I don't want to stay too long on this one, because I do want to get to champion, and I also want to get to rebel, because like, dude, no. And I want to do that before midnight. I'm not sure how that's gonna go, because champion has around the same amount of pages as this one, so it's also 5 hours, and that might mean that I will finish the trilogy by midnight, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to read Rebel today. So I might have a separate reading vlog for that. That might be a separate thing, because I do want to get through all of this. I had to take care of my nephew for a little while, and I'm sorry about the light, but yeah, I had to take care of my nephew for a little while, so I haven't really been reading, but I'm on page 117. Oh my god, the light. I've been on page 117, and I realized that day at this moment is in that setting. I wrote it down over here, as you can see. It's with a system tag. But day is in the same situation that I see a lot of tropes there are between childhood best friend and newcomer bad boy, you know, that I've seen a lot in fanfiction and sometimes in YA. But this is turned around, of course, and also in a dystopic setting, so I'm just in love. And I don't know if Mary Lou did that intentionally, but I'm just really liking that. I just realized it, and me having become self-aware of that, it just makes the whole experience so much better. Because we obviously have somebody that we're gonna root for, because the romance is normally about that, but there are some instances of doubt which kind of help the feeling of our main couple being threatened. So that puts the stakes up a lot higher, because of course also considering Tessa's history and how she really needs somebody to care for her, and who we might not know if she's gonna get a love interest anytime soon. But she's like 14, 15, so like she's got a lot ahead of her, and Day just turned 16. And he met June, who he can kind of relate to, and whose love story is very passionate. It kind of surpasses all logic, especially because they met under life-threatening circumstances, so that would make the bond a little stronger. And they also attempt to survive together, and you know, he kind of owes her a little bit, and she owes him too, so like it's a very complicated situation. But either way, I'm just really loving this, and yeah, I can't wait to finish it. I as I said, on page 117, so I don't know how long it's gonna be until I finish it, but I'm gonna read non-stop until I do. I'm at page 150, and I'm doing really well. I've tapped a little more because that one June chapter, Chef's Kiss, the one she had with Andon, really good. Also, it really did display a lot of Mary Lou's, that and Day's chapter, like previous to that one. They, like, the world building skills were really good. Also foreshadowing, which I'm not sure is actual foreshadowing, but it's just really good. I think the writing is very smart. Anyway, I'm gonna go have lunch. Hello. It's like 3:30, and I am on page 208. And it is getting super tense, and just really tense. I really enjoyed the action scenes in here, because I can actually picture them in my mind, so like that's great. But it's also like so good, like you have no idea how tense the scenes are. Since I have a little bit of a break right now, since I'm more than halfway through, I think you can see this. Like, this is what I need to finish. This is what I've already read. I'm more than halfway through, so I'm gonna make myself some dalgona coffee. I made this last night before starting the readathon, so it's been refrigerated for a while, and you can tell because there's this thing, and I might have to uncover that, but we'll see. Like, nothing interesting to pour it on, so I'm just gonna wash this and do it here. This almond milk, I really like this almond milk. It's really good. I think it's too much ice, but you know what? You only live once. Say around halfway. That sounds enough. Oh, it's kind of syrupy it's kind of syrupy, but it's not that bad actually. Kind of feels like ice cream, which I feel is great. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. 1, 2, 3. Yay. So let me give you a bit of a, oh, doesn't that look gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous? Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, so I'm gonna go back upstairs and read some more. I'm crying just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. I know you can't tell because I whipped up the camera and my crying subsided. But oh my god, this is so... Imagine! I wouldn't want it to be my own brother. This is so dramatic and I love it. It was kind of hard to finish this one. Oh my god, I am sobbing internally, right? I like the ending because it's not uncharacteristic of what these characters would do. Like, it's not out of character, you know? Like, I mean, it makes sense. It has to make sense because Mary Lou kind of knows her. She's supposed to know her characters, and like, there's that. So it's like 6 something. It's like 6 something, and yeah, the second book is done. As you can see, there's some annotations, not a lot, but definitely enough, you know, for like, it's a good time. It's definitely a good time. This is the next baby on the list. This is like, I think it's the newest copy. It's not that it's the newest copy, it's just that it's the most immaculate one because I have not reread this one even once. I reread both Legend and Prodigy. This is the second time I'm rereading them, but this is the first time I'm rereading Champion, so like I seriously have no idea what's going on here. By the way, it has my favorite hardback out of the 3 books because I just like the red, and I like the kind of gold, silver, like kind of rose gold that we have going on here. There's a map, and it's a map of the world now, not only of the US. Formatting for his chapters, it's one of my favorites, and I also love how thoughtful June's formatting is as well, and how the parentheses hold all of the details because she is like, as she is scanning a room, she takes in the details, and that's where the parentheses come in. And also the fact that they're just, I love them. They're so different, but at the same time they're so similar that it's kind of obvious that they're gonna be together because they're just kind of twin flames, but they're not at the same time. It's just weird, but it's so cute. And well, it's not really entirely cute because like bad things happen. So yeah, this is the longest book so far. Honestly, this cover is my favorite cover, especially because of the texture. I adore it so much. Hi. Yeah, I just kind of want to say, first thing, my mom brought her friends over, so it might be a little hard to get through the book because they're kind of loud, but I'm on page 83 at the moment, and I think it is around, if I could get to the time, it's 8:11 p.m. so we are really getting through it. I already tabbed quite a few sections. I think I've tabbed like 4 or 5 sections so far, or well, it's 4 sections, but it's kind of 5. I really do come back to that thing I said about Thomas and about how there's just not room, how he just doesn't and has never and will never prioritize emotions and other people's relationships over his duty, because his duty makes him feel like somebody who has an identity, and his human relationships don't really do. And I feel like that's very tragic of him. Like, I mean, I feel really sorry for him. He never truly understood what love really was until he lost it, and he just hardened himself completely, and that's just very, very tragic, to be honest. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far because it's awfully tragic, and also it's not steamy yet. I know there's gonna be steam in this, like just a tiny bit, because both of these are already 17. Well, one is 17, the other is 16, so like there's a little bit of steam coming. And oh, I love this little hair moment. Oh yeah. But anyway, it's getting romantic. It's getting awfully romantic as well. Like, I love June and Day as a pairing, and I just can't. I really cannot. I am so grateful, to be honest, that this is my favorite trilogy of all time, because the plot is excellent, the world building is really good, the politics of it all, oh my god, my dog, the politics of it all is actually very, very plausible, and the romance is just as heartwarming and just as tragic and tumultuous as we can ask for. So my heart is always on the line, quite frankly. And I don't know, I'm just in love. The writing style has kind of improved and kind of worsened. I think it's 3 times where, you know, they say like, oh, the lights danced across their face. I hate expressions like that. I hate anything that says danced in a way that is not a verb, that was like in a metaphorical way, unless it's incredibly well done, like in poetry. But just in prose, using dance is just like not good. I hate it so much. I don't know why. And Mary Lou I think it's one of the first times she uses it in this book, or maybe she has used it in Prodigy, but I didn't really pay attention. But she used it here, and I'm just kind of annoyed because I didn't think that would happen, but it does. And I can't complain, because I mean, I can't complain, but I can't take it out of the content of the book. So yeah, we're probably gonna give this a 5-star though, because I am so sure this is gonna be a great read. You guys know that I just adore this, and since it's fairly early, I might allow myself to go to page 150, or maybe even trudge halfway territory, because I want to make some popcorn a little bit later on. And I also, okay, so this, I am probably gonna finish the series today. Like, I'm going to stay awake for a long time so I can finish Rebel, because I'm just intrigued as hell, and I know I'm gonna like that novel. This is the way my desk looks. It's kind of chaotic, but you know what, I'm not happy about it, yes, but but at least it's my chaotic space. I still cannot find anything within this, unless they are on plain sight, but they're there. I don't know how this looks, to be honest. I feel like shit. Oh, great. I feel like shit a little bit, and that's mainly because I'm really tired, because I have been lying in the same position for like 2 hours in bed and just reading, and I'm already on page 226. And there has been oh my god, what the fuck is wrong? All right, I'm sorry, I don't know how this is gonna go. You guys are just gonna see all of this, because I'm just not gonna move it right now. But there's just been so many emotions in here that I cannot. It's just so well written. Like, I wholeheartedly, like, this is so well written. And it's not well written in the sense that it's so flowery, and it's so smart and quick paced, and whenever there needs to be a moment to pause, it's very self-reflective. The narrative of each character is proper to each character. Like, the inner train of thought, narration, writing style fits June when we're in June's POV, and when it's on Day's POV, you can totally tell, because he uses more slang, and it's so distinct, and I love that. And also the way that both of these kids process emotions is so different. It's drastically different, but at the same time, it's kind of similar. Like, they're both pretty neglectful of their emotions until they reach a breaking point. So there's that. Actually, we love some mental health rep in here because at, I guess, the beginning, not really the beginning, but I want to say around the first fourth of the book, on page 66, so very, very early on, Day talks about his new coping mechanism for when he's just not feeling well and when his headaches are very strong. And he describes it, and I was like, holy shit, Dave dissociates from reality to cope. I personally don't dissociate at the time. I dissociate afterwards to cope with the memories. And the way that I dissociate is I do it as if I were a person several decades in the future, and I was telling this story, like this very distant story that had happened, and just kind of just try to go off that. Day does the most, I think it's one of the most common ways of dissociating, and it's when trauma is happening and I have an anxiety attack, or in his case, he's having a really strong headache. He curls up internally and he seems to watch himself be and live. That's how he separates that situation from reality so that his brain copes with it. Anyway, that was a little bit of a psychology lesson. It's like 11:20 at night, and I am so tired, and I cannot bring myself to read a chapter more of this, even if I wanted to. Even if I wanted to pull through, I just can't do it. And we are like 130 pages from the ending, so I would need like 2 additional hours to finish this, more or less, because I read 50 pages every hour, and that's not really, I'm not proud of it. I've tried to read a lot quicker, but I cannot keep myself accountable for that. Like, I love reading at my own pace. I love stopping at every single word to say it in my head, because like I can process words if I read quick, just do that, but it's so boring. It's so boring. Anyway, I'm not really talking about the book itself anymore, sorry. So there's so much in here. The romance is so breathtaking because the characters have such high stakes outside of their relationship, and their relationship is something that doesn't harm the stakes, but it runs deep within like their emotions, and it does interfere, and it does cross their individual lives in ways that are weird. It's just not weird, but important. Of course, these two have been intertwined. Their lives have been intertwined for very, very long. Just around a year, but it feels very, very long because they've been through constant hardships together, some of which the other has caused, but they still have their own lives outside of that, and sometimes their actual life, their professional life or their personal life or their individuality clashes with them being in a relationship. And I think that's beautiful because it shows that these two do love each other so much as to be so willing to work together through all of the hardships that maintaining this relationship with the status that they hold might entail. So that's a lot of determination, folks. Don't do that if you really don't love the person, because these guys have known each other for a year. They have barely made it official that, I guess they're gonna be dating from now on. So I recommend you do that. My poor dog is dehydrated. I put his bowl over here, so poor baby. But anyway, you do that. You follow these guys' examples. You know each other for a whole year. See how much you hurt each other. See how much you interfere with each other's lives. And then at the end, if you still love each other, if you're not codependent, but if you still love each other, date. I have never done that. I literally meet my boyfriends and like a month later we're already dating. So like, don't do those mistakes. I'm trying not to do those mistakes anymore. Alas, we're here today. I don't know why I said alas. There's like, it's not the right word to use in this context. Anyway, I'm gonna wash up. I am going to end the vlog right here, the vlog portion, and I'm gonna wrap all of this up sometime in the future. Probably not tomorrow because I have a lot to do tomorrow, which means that I have to sleep a lot tomorrow and probably finish this book and probably start this book as well because I'm like so tired. I'm just really tired. By the way, I am starting a new reading vlog tomorrow because I am in the middle of this book and I'm gonna have to read Rebel, and I am in the middle of 2 other books, and I am doing a little bit of progress with The Devil in the White City, and I feel like this 24-hour readathon encouraged me to just set a lot of time aside for reading, because if I could read 2 books that were, I got through the first book 5 hours, and then I got to the other book a couple hours as well, but like I had a lot of breaks in between when trying to finish that book, which is why my numbers didn't, like, in theory they looked perfect, but then like in the practice, like I thought I was gonna have like 2 hours to spare after I finished this book, but no, I haven't even finished it, and it's almost midnight. So yeah, I'm just gonna wash up. Thank you a lot for watching this. If you're a fan of Legend just like I am, like, dude, you know the pain, you know the struggle. Oh, my face is a little swollen, isn't it? Well, anyway, if you're a fan of Legend, I want to salute you, because this is my favorite dystopia, and this is my favorite YA of all time, I think. And rereading it actually reinforced that, because I have fresh eyes right now, and even though a lot of my criticism is laced with nostalgia, I feel like it's still so good. Like, it's nothing personal, but it's so good anyway. Oh my god, I do recommend it if you like dystopia and if you want to kind of feel sucked back into a simpler time where, I don't know, your parents bought you books because that's definitely what I'm trying to emulate, what I'm trying to manifest. And I'm just gonna go